Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to this session. My name is Carmen Serna. I'm project manager at Australo. We are the communication responsible partner in the Reincarnate project, and I'm happy to welcome you to this first discussion forum where we are going to address several very interesting topics focusing on adopting circular innovation tools in the construction industry sector. We are going to, in the agenda for today, first we will give the floor to Karin Wannerberg from Ragnacells. She will discuss about discovering the value in circular waste reduction, the different achievements and failures. Then we will move to Klaus Luit from 3L Architects, and he will discuss about adopting a circular value business model, weighing the benefits and the challenges. And then Selma Toktas from the Erasmus University Rotterdam will talk about overcoming resistance and barriers, communicating the value of circular innovations to abstinent stakeholders. And then all the questions that you have, you can just type on the chat, because then at the end we will have around 20 minutes the discussion itself with Q&A with Joao Gonçalves from the Erasmus University Rotterdam. So yeah, I guess we can start. Karin, hello. I make you a host, so I guess you can share a screen if you wish. So I'm gonna stop sharing mine.
Just one moment. But you can hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah. Great. So I'll share my screen with you. So can you see my screen?
Yes, Karin.
Yes, perfect. So thank you so much, Carmen, and thank you all for letting me speak here. I think many of you maybe know who I am, but my name is Karin Wannerberg, and I'm working at Ragnacells as a project manager. And I'm focusing mainly on our research projects, where Reincarnate is one of them, where we are working. And I will talk about us, Ragnacells, which is a waste management company, and how we are becoming a material supplier in the circular economy. We'll see if I can move forward. Also, yes. Just to give you some context, so Ragnacells is a waste management company, and our vision is to be a living proof that caring for the earth and businesses goes hand in hand. And our mission is to lead the transformation towards circular society, where we care for the environment, counter climate change, and help communities to prosper. And our brand promise is that we every day work to bring more resources back into the production cycle in a secure way. And we also aim to be a forefront of circular solutions that makes it easy for us to, for our customers to help create sustainable, safe society. So that's where we are. And I also wanted to show you the picture of our strategy. So we basically have 5 foundations in our strategy, which are 1, circular solutions, which we are talking about today, finding new materials that can be looped over and over again. Then, of course, we need to be a compliant partner. It's really, really important today to be compliant, that we put safety first, and we also ensure stable delivery to our customers. Another one is partnership. That's really, really important, and I will emphasize this more times, that we are stronger together, and if we are going to develop circular solutions, we need to do things in partnership. We can't create circular solutions alone. And we also focus on value-based business, which is also understanding our customers' needs. So what does the customer need from us? So we can look for that in our feedstock. This all together helps us to become a premium brand in the circular economy. And this is also supported by our digital strategy that is an enabler for us to be this premium partner in the circular economy. So this is where we are and our strategy ahead. We often talk about waste is a material without an identity. And here I would really say that identity, information, data is a big enabler for circular solutions. If we want to see waste as a resource, we also need to take care of the data that comes with this material. The EU definition today of waste is any substance, material, or object which the holder discard or intends or is required to discard. And I would say that this definition is a really, really big obstacle today for us to be able to handle possible material flows that can't be handled due to legislation. So if we can have a new definition of waste, we see that as a big enabler. And I think this from Thomas Rau, an architect in Germany, is a very good way of seeing it. That if we have information, it's not a waste, it's actually a resource that we can use. We often look at the linear flow within the construction, and this is of course an overview. Normal case is that we extract virgin materials, we transport it somewhere, we produce a product or a material that we then can use in the built environment when we build new facilities and properties. And in each of these steps, we add information and data. In the construction phase and when we build something, we very many times have BIM models, building information models. They contain a lot of information about the material and dimensions, the substance, so much. And then we go into the maintenance mode. The property stands there for maybe, hopefully 100 years. But during this time, this information and data is also many times lost. And when the building is teared down, no information is given to us, which is in the waste management sector. But if we can change this, we can also change the ways that the paths of the material flows. And this is what we really would like to focus on, that if we, with data as an enabler and a way to share this information, then we can also use this material from the built environment, from the property that is teared down, and make these resources go back into the loop. We can reuse it for new buildings. We can recycle material, and we can put it up into closed loops where we use secondary raw material into the production system again, if we know the requirements. If we know the requirements from the industry, we can also make sure we quality assure material streams from the built environment that actually stands up on all the requirements that the industry has on material that should be put into production again. So we need to understand the requirements and we need to collect the data so we can ensure them and also know what it is we are handling. So this is a very, very important step. And we have some open questions that we are thinking about in many different projects that Ragn-Sells are engaged with. We have, of course, Reincarnate. We are also working in another European project called Onto the Side, where we are looking at the digital infrastructure on how to share data between humans and computers in a scalable way. We have a Swedish project called Trace for Value, where we're also looking at this. And we have Börja, which is a Swedish project focusing on circular logistics. So how does these materials flows need to be constructed in order to enable circular logistics? So some of these open questions that we are questioning ourselves is, where in the system should data and information be created, added and kept for the material? How do we keep it in a cost-efficient way? and how do we use this information to create new or better circular solutions. And I would also like to add, how do we use this information in order to create better businesses and new businesses. So one of our success stories is, as many of you have heard before, maybe the flat glass case, where we are recycling flat glass to flat glass. So what we are doing is that we are keeping the quality of flat glass in the entire closed loop. And flat glass is also the highest quality of glass that we are having today. So by our process, developed together with Saint-Gobain, we are keeping the high quality in the entire loop, so no downgrading, and we can recycle it as many times as we want. So what we are doing is taking glass, instead of ending up in landfill, we are creating a new raw material. And to create 1 ton of flat glass from virgin resources, we need 1.2 ton of sand. And we also need a lot of energy and other material going in. But if we create 1 ton flat glass from flat glass, we can reduce the amount of energy in the process. And on a total level, we decrease the CO2 emissions with 54%. So this is the process that Reincarnate has. We are collecting windows that are whole. We cannot afford any contaminations in the flow. So that's a very, very important thing, to collect material in a way when it's not contaminated. What we are doing then is crushing out the glass. We are quality assuring it, so it's quality assured. And in this step, the third step, we are also taking the waste that it enters as a waste on our facility and becomes a product. So with the quality assurance, we also take something that's waste and make it a product. Then we sell it to a glass manufacturer, which in this case is Saint-Gobain, and they produce windows from recycled content. And some of the key steps to do this is the diagnosis, the inventory, data collection, the removal from the window, dismantling, sorting, ensuring the right quality, and the melting process. And what's very important to know that the diagnosis is so important, since not all glasses are the same and not all glasses can be recycled. So this is a very, very important step here. And the quality is number one priority. And we do have traceability in the value chain. So some key insights: we cannot create circular material flows alone. We need to cooperate. We need a common way to talk about things. We need a common vocabulary, a common ontology. Data collection is super important. Therefore, inventory is very important in order to gather all the data we need. And also this data creates new values for stakeholders. We can take data and put together for statistics. We can also use it for digital product passports and environmental product declarations, for example. So a short conclusion: we need to start asking the right questions. What's in our feedstock? How can we use it? How can we extract secondary resources to the right quality? What is the right quality? What does the industry want? What do they need? And where in the system should data and information be created, added, kept for a material? And how do we keep this information in a cost-efficient way? And more circular flows means avoidance of extracting virgin material, which is very, very good for the environment. And circular economy is not primarily about waste reduction. It's about producing goods to the right quality with the minimum extraction and destruction of virgin resources. And here we see digitalization as a key enabler in scaling the circular material flows. Thank you so much for letting me speak. Oh, you're muted, Karen.
Yeah, I realize. Thank you so much, Karin, for your presentation. Very impressive. Actually, I personally had the chance to be in Ragnarsel's headquarters and see the whole process. It's super interesting and impressive. There are some questions in the chat, but we are going to leave this for the end of the session. So now, Klaus, it's your turn.
Yep. I think you see my screen, right?
Yes. Hello, Klaus.
Hello. So, yeah, I'm a little bit of a stranger in this business issue because I'm an architect, and regularly what people talk about, if it's about architects, are they business specialists or not? In my case, it's something special. We're doing business modeling for more than 30 years, and we are very deep in research and development projects. And today I want to give you a snapshot, a short insight in what we are doing in the Reincarnate project to move forward, to solve some of the questions that Karin raised, for example. So how do we go on? How do we go on? How do we really organize our processes for circular economy? First of all, you have to know that in this field, even talking about demands of different stakeholder groups, we have a lot of barriers. And in this overview, you can see that there's a lot of cultural market knowledge is a problem for sure. Karin, you might know that as well. If people discuss about flat glaze and recycling, there are a lot of questions for sure about qualities and issues like this, stakeholder demands, technological things. And my issue today is more about supply chain. Why it is so interesting for architects? Yeah, unfortunately, if we go for a circular economy approach, our design process is changed tremendously because the expectation is not to design first and then collect the material that we need to make it happen. It's more or less a little bit the other way around. We have to take care for materials that are available and fitting to the specific needs of a project, and maybe then adjust our design in a special way to make it happen. Now, what to do now? So one is that we talk about the regular way of dealing with products in the building market, which is for sure traditional and very conservative. It's typical, I would say, the real business model of a big company that tries to get their target group and sell something to them. It could be like a bakery consulting firm or only online retail store. You can buy something, they offer something, and for sure it's not about the services connected to the products. You don't receive a real hint how you can apply the product. And if there is an interaction of the different projects, it's just single cases. We think that BES, so-called business ecosystem, is an interesting platform-based idea that gives us an insight about how we can digitalize all these business ideas. And a business ecosystem, for those who are not so familiar to this, is a network that is interacting with different organizations, people, and technologies. And the key features of a typical BES are there are a lot of companies that have to collaborate, and it's dynamic and adaptive. So it needs a lot of evolution and spirit. Why? Because this innovation makes it, I would say, attractive for people who want to approach it. You always have to keep it attractive at the level day by day. And one example that is often really presented in terms of making it more or less visible from day-to-day work, or even expertise that we have. Even Apple is sort of a business ecosystem. Why is it like this? Apple is not producing everything that they are selling. Apple products are running, for example, with apps, so software tools, and these software tools are done by external companies, but they are registered to be used by Apple. So this is a small explanation what could be an impact of the BES. There are at least two different natures. One is called solution ecosystem, the one is called the transaction system, and we have four players in it. It's suppliers, orchestrator, complementers, and customers. What is the aim? The aim is for sure to have a sort of, I would say, turnkey offer for almost everything. So the solution is provided to a client to cover all the demands that are really called for from the clients for different perspectives. On the right-hand side, the typical transaction one, much easier. There's an orchestrator in the middle, and he is doing the connection between producer and customer. A little bit like Amazon, I would say, without a deep interaction. Why is it interesting to go for a business ecosystem? The nature is for sure very interesting. Why is the nature interesting? Now we're moving forward. Nature is interesting because the business ecosystem is a melting pot of something. The people meet because they have a certain common spirit and an idea how to more or less, I would say, concentrate on a special topic, at the same time form up a holistic perspective for people who are looking for something. From my end, to be very practical, if somebody is going to build a house with recycled material, for example, or to design it, it could be a one-stop shop that might be created here to help people to really move forward. There are a lot of stakeholders in this business of building houses, from clients, owners to technology providers. This is the generic picture, and for sure you have to give sort of a mirrored actors that are acting on the platform. Even architects and engineers are in for sure. And I would say from my end, sometimes we work already in business ecosystem. For an example, if a client requests us to do sort of a general planning where we integrate special engineering facilities and specialists from material side, then for sure we have to do. If we go on the specific list, so what are, for example, participants that could be really sexy for such a system, such a business ecosystem? For sure we need people that are more than just regular. So innovative contractors, sustainable material suppliers. I'm taking a look at Karen again. So this is for sure interesting. AI-driven project management firms, very important. How can we make the whole process more intuitive and smart? Smart infrastructure engineers, and for sure even mentioned with EPDS and the lecture before, it's about certifiers and regulatory bodies to make sure that materials can be easily applied. Startups are always interesting in the tech part, community-centric urban developers, circular economy experts, construction, education, and training. So a lot of things are embedded in the Reincarnate project, because we realized that we definitely need it, and public-private partnerships make a lot of things happen to overcome obstacles that are on the way if you really have a fragmented process of doing some things. What are the real challenges? So this is one of the headlines that I got from Selma to talk about. There's cooperative and competitive challenges for sure. And what does that mean? Cooperative means if you have a network, you have to have a clear definition of roles. Who is responsible for what, and who is giving a sort of a direction, who's taking care of monetizing what you're doing if you sell some materials. And the competitive challenge for sure, talking about the partners that are in. If you have partners that offer services or products that are not too far away from each other, how to really harmonize this gang to really offer something as a turnkey offer to the market. So this is something that we have to bear in our mind if we discuss about business ecosystems. Regularly, there are 4 times that I identified that is innovation-led, market-driven, policy-led, and platform-led. And there's always something that has to do with digital for sure. There are examples. Mother's Care might be known by some of the buildings as material banks, coming from another project for sure was something that was really interesting in terms of this. So design vulnerability checklist. So the business ecosystem at the moment, even in the scientific discussion and the economic discussion at a certain level, is thought, I would say, as a wonder weapon. People think that if you replace a big company by a lot of smaller companies and organize them, it's quite easy. It's not. It's really not. So what we see here is the list of weaknesses and vulnerabilities that exist from weaknesses. Is the problem really the problem that we solve from the perspective of the market, not from the inside of the system? how is it configured? How is the governance really organized? Really complicated. Again, who has a say in special terms? Is it sort of a democratic system, or is it more autocratic in order to make it happen in the proper way? The inadequate monetization is a problem. The orchestrator, if you remember this chart that I showed, is for sure someone very important. And quite often, big companies and people who can afford to really raise such an ecosystem are needed to really make it happen. The launch strategy, how do you really expect to even come across with your customers and give them something? And how is it defensible? So what is the competitive situation, and how do you fight against this? One of the good chances is for sure to put in innovation at a certain extent ongoing, but unfortunately innovation takes a sort of an effort, and it's not about the real business taking part. So there's some interdifferences that make it not that easy. If we discuss about the share of the failures, for sure we can say in generic, 6 of the 7 failure modes cover 85%. This is more or less a short list that I said, and it's more about design failures. It's not about really, I would say, the impact of the technical partners and everything, and that shows directly what is the real problem in it. The failure rate in the different phases is not in the launch, but in the scale phase for sure, because scaling up means you need to come to a point where you have really a part of the market that makes everything payable. You can monetize it at a certain extent. I think this is almost, Carmen has to help me for sure. I think this is my time that I had here to really highlight it a bit, what I see from the business perspective and where are the challenges in it. And I think questions we will tackle later on. So first of all, thanks for the audience, and maybe we can intensify the discussion later on.
Thank you, Klaus. Thank you very much for your presentation. And now is the turn for Selma for the last presentation before we move to the discussion part of the session.
Hi everyone, I'm Selma Toktaş. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at Erasmus University. Now I'm sharing my screen. Can you see now? Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. This is a totally different computer now I'm using today. It is a little bit challenging for me.
No problem.
Just a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Now we see it in presentation mode. So
yeah, okay. So far, we explored the potential of the value of the circular innovation and how the business ecosystem occurs and what are the possibilities and challenges. But now I want to take your attention more deep diving into the challenges and barriers. Karen and also Klaus also mentioned a little bit. But maybe not only for the focusing on the hard barriers, which these are these are mainly, for example, technical infrastructure or supply chain problems. I want to focus mainly for the soft barriers. These are mainly for the related with the organizational and communicational stage. Many companies are having difficulties adopting these circular innovation tools, but it's really important to see why do they resist circular innovation in the first place, and how can we better communicate the value of these innovations to them. So I want to start with this barrier. I just want to summarize them into 5 things. First one is perceived risk. This is mainly based on the company's resistance to integrating these innovations, not to destroy their reputation, because they cannot see the future in the long term. And they thought that it's really unknown nature it has, and it's create a very risk for them, and they cannot, they don't want to take these risks, and they wait for their peers in the industry to act before they acting. The second one, I can say that financial concerns, these concerns mostly related with cost concerns. Transitioning to circular system can sometimes seem costly in the short term. Because of that, stakeholders may hesitate to embrace these innovations. Despite its potentials in the long-term savings and also environmental benefits, they only focusing on the upfront expenses, and all these can be a significant obstacle for them to assessing the financial viability of the circular innovations. So because of that, they are focusing on more costs, and they stay hesitant to integrate all these innovations. The third one is cultural and organizational inertia. Many organizations are entrenched in their existing processes, and they really stick to their existing practices and beliefs. So this makes adopting these innovations really difficult, because it's a very new thing for them, and again, it's a little bit related to perceived risks, but mainly related with their cultural or organizational culture. So they don't want to go further. And in addition to this, in the organizations, one of the main obstacle is related with workforce. Many businesses, many companies may not have employees with required expertises, and there might be a lack of adequate training programs or educational pathways to develop these skills in the workforce in companies.
Selma, I'm sorry, but the slides are not moving. We are just seeing the first one all the time.
Maybe stop sharing, and so I'm sorry. This one.
Now we see the second one, but it's not in presentation mode. Just for you.
Not in presentation mode now.
Now, yes, the first one. Yes, now, yes.
Okay, now. Is it now in the presentation mode?
Yes, and the second one. Yeah.
Second one. Yeah. So sorry, I don't understand, but maybe I did something wrong. Yeah. The fourth one is lack of awareness, and also their understanding. Some stakeholders may simply not understand the full of value of the and potential impact of the circular innovations. So they still significant have knowledge about the details of implementing circular practices, and understanding a full range of benefits and trade-offs involved. The other one is uncertainty of regulations and lack of standardization. This one is really difficult for the companies, because they don't know They don't have any standardization, for example, for the waste management. There are many differences, especially when we are thinking about construction industry. There are many stakeholders from different countries sometimes. So they really need a standardization to implement all these circular innovation tools, and also some regulations also not clear enough for the all stakeholders sometimes. So I don't want to take too much time for the barriers. Klaus and Karin also mentioned a little bit. Just I want to summarize it like this. Then I want to look at how we can overcome this resistance. We need a strategy that makes the value of circular innovations clear and more convincing. And also we need to communicate the value of circular innovations effectively. Here, communication value circle becomes inevitable tool. This framework, there's a framework developed by Zorfas and Friedman, German theorists. It is really useful for developing a communication strategy for adopting circular innovation tools in the construction industry. It really offers a comprehensive approach to understanding how communication can create value, both in short term and also long term, and how communication provides a structured way to integrate circular economic principles into in the construction industry. The core of communication value circle is corporate strategy, as you've seen in the circle. Every communication effort, every message, and also every interaction should support and align with organization's overall strategic goals. For example, by adopting circular practices, construction companies can achieve long-term cost saving through the material use, enhanced resource efficiency, and better waste management. These benefits directly align with the corporate goals. These are can be increasing profitability or enhancing operational efficiency. If the corporate strategy positions circularity as a growth opportunity rather than a cost burden, it provides a really strong starting point for all communication efforts aimed at overcoming all this resistance. I mentioned that one of the barriers is the perceived risk. If the companies communicate with the internal and external stakeholders, not focusing cost problems, if they focus on more growth issues, then the communication will develop smoothly, and the value can be understandable much more from the all stakeholders. I want to show that there is 4 different dimensions of the communication value circle. But all these different enabling operations, building intangibles, adjusting strategy, and ensuring flexibility, these 4 dimensions operates on 2 key levels: corporate management and corporate communication. These dimensions will not only help the actors in industry overcome the resistance, also inspire their stakeholders to embrace circular innovations. We can focus 4 dimensions. First one is enabling operations, this building the foundation of value creation. At the first level of this communication value circle, we focus on enabling the operations. Effective communication plays a critical. It's changing again. Yeah, effective communication plays a critical role in ensuring that circular innovations integrated into daily operations, not only externally, also internally. It is about making all these innovations visible and understood within the organizations. For the hesitant stakeholders, the key challenge is often the perception of these changes will disrupt established processes. Here, communication help reduce their fears by showing how circular innovations fit seamlessly into existing workflow. For example, modular construction and material reuse don't require a complete overhaul of current methods, but rather a smarter or more sustainable approach. It requires more sustainable approach. It's maybe focusing on this and communicating this can be better for the realizing the value of these circular innovations. This communication should emphasize practically and easy implementation, so stakeholders don't feel overwhelmed by the complexity of the transition. I think this is the main one of the main obstacles that the companies seems this transition so overwhelming and so complex. So more smooth communication can help them to integrate better. The second one, I also said that building intangibilities, these are shaping reputation and corporate culture. For the abstainer stakeholders, the risk perception is the major barrier, as I told before. There is a fear that they can damage a company's reputations or lead to negative public perceptions. This fear must be addressed head on. One of the most effective tool of overcoming this fear is the brand positioning. So while they are doing their branding strategies, it is important that they can communicate how adopting circular principles not only aligns the company with the global sustainability and circularity trends, but also enhance its reputation as a responsible, more feature-focused and industry leader. And also this mentality is really important to digested by CEO or leadership communications, because if the company's top decision makers digest and adopt all this circularity, the rest of the company can follow them and easily adopt innovation strategies into their actions. The third one is ensuring flexibility. The previous one, you see that ensuring flexibility in the right on the matrix right side. It's totally related with the relationships and also trust with the stakeholders. So I can say that it's important for the companies to ensure the flexibility and also trust with their stakeholders. Communication also helps manage crisis and uncertainties. So it doesn't matter if the challenges arise, if they can communicate and manage all crises with stakeholders in a trust-based communication, they can solve this problem easily. So credibility and resilience is really important at this point. The fourth one is adjusting strategy. This one is fostering thought leadership and innovation. This highlights the importance of the communication in driving innovation and adapting market changes. So here it is important to integrate monitoring systems, for example, social media companies, conversations, and also public opinion, market trend. Following all these things, it's really important for the companies to adapt their strategies and to reflect the changes of the demands of the market. For example, if there is a growing public concern about construction waste and environmental impact, they can proactively communicate the challenges and positioning the company as an innovator in the sustainable construction and circular construction practices. Again, it's important point. The important point here is the thought leadership. If the company is being a thought leadership and the rest can follow them. The other one is the internal feedback mechanism. Generally, it's easy to use employee surveys, supplier consultations, and focus group. These kind of methods really helps for the companies to internal feedback mechanism. So there are many different things here, but I just only want to show you how communication is really important to adapting the value of the circularity in the construction industry. Now, as a partner of the Reincarnate project, Erasmus University, we are developing guidelines because theoretically it's really easy to say these are really important, but we want to support the stakeholders with the guidelines. Now, currently we are working on it. I think we will finalize it around March, and we will share with you in the future discussion forums. Sorry for the sharing difficulties at the beginning. And if you have any question, I can reply. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Selma. Can everyone hear me, by the way? Okay, perfect. So we have about 10 minutes or so, maybe a tiny bit less for questions. Thank you for the interesting presentations. This is a discussion forum, so I think we've heard 3 very interesting and diverse perspectives, but we also want to hear from our participants. There are 2 questions from Karen already on the chat, so maybe we can start with those. If window foil prevents the recycling of glass, or if it makes the process more laborious or less efficient. And then maybe somewhat related, if the level of price that is paid compared to virgin materials, and if the price is paid by Saint-Gobain, if there's a difference, or where does this difference come from? And while Karen is answering, I invite others also to think if they have questions, but also if they have examples of their own that they would like to share in these 10 minutes that we have left. Karen, go ahead.
Yes. So the first question, it does depend on how thick this foil is. So we have now identified that we can have films up to 0.25 millimeters on windows. That won't affect the quality assurance or the manufacturing process. So it's not an obstacle, but of course, if there are thicker films, that might be a problem. But then it's also like, okay, what kind of film is it? That's why the inventory here is so important, and that we get all the information about the built environment. So we can also develop this process, because it's a fairly new process, should also be said. So there can still be improvements, and this can be something that will change over time. So I hope that was an answer on the first question. And about the price level, I should be open to say that today it's more expensive to buy secondary raw material than using virgin material, which is really, really a big obstacle from our perspective, that it's so cheap today that virgin material doesn't really pay the full price of their life cycle. So they don't really take the costs that circular materials does need to include in the business model. So today it's a more complex process to treat these glass cullets, to take it out from the frame, to quality assure it, and then to use this in production. So I would say that the total price is higher today, and there are many actors paying for this. Not only Saint-Gobain, it's Ragn-Sells, it's the facility owner, because it's a more difficult process, it's more complex, and unfortunately, it's so cheap today to buy virgin material.
Yeah, price is always one of the key barriers that everybody is
Yes.
looking at.
There are more process steps. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something, Karen. So don't be too disappointed about the price level and the value. I think what we have to discuss in the future is for sure that second source is added value.
Yes.
And if this topic is raised and we can prove it because we're running out of any kind of material,
Yes.
then for sure shortage makes price, and then everything is okay again. So
Yes.
don't be too worried about this. Will take some time, and again, it is added value if we put something into the circle again without downcycling it. This is my perspective about it.
Yes, and I would say thank you, Klaus, and I totally agree. We add another value that we are actually using the resources again. We don't extract more virgin resource. We are more environmental friendly. There are so many environmental challenges related to virgin extraction of material, and there are so much of the CO2 emissions related to this, and water scarcity and biodiversity. So I would say that's also another value, but this was more focusing on the price. But I agree. I think also over time this will change. But now, when we are entering it on the market, it's an obstacle, and that's also what we hear, that many would like to do this, but they think it's a bit too expensive. But I think it's very important that we have actors in the value chain that are brave and just say that, yes, but this is something we are supporting, so we are also paying for this, because it will be cheaper when it gets more streamlined and implemented and a better, more efficient process.
Yeah, it's also something we know from the social sciences, that people tend to focus on the long term and less on the short term and less on the long term. So it's part of social communication. I think we have time for one final question or intervention, if it is quick. Otherwise, to make sure that we finish on time, I can also hand it over to Carmen to also make the closing and give a bit more of a wrapping up to this discussion for.
Yeah. If there are no more questions, we can close the session here. We would like to thank you all for attending. This first discussion forum is part of a series, so in the upcoming months we will organize different ones addressing other very interesting topics, and we invite you from Reincarnate to follow our activities, what we are doing. Our name is Reincarnate because what we are trying to do, our aim is to give a second life to building products and building materials. So if you are here, it's because you are also working on the industry and are interested by this topic and how to make the construction sector more circular. So yeah, we invite you to stay connected and stay tuned for our activities and upcoming webinars. So thank you all, and I wish you a wonderful day.
Thank you, Carmen. You too. And thank you so much for the discussion and questions.
Bye then, all.
Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.